I see that you guys have stayed out of the collateral damage, so welcome back to the Crash Course Metal Show. Today we are doing another episode in the Forgotten Album series, and today we are doing 1991. This is part 6, if you can believe it or not. So I had 3 hair metal albums for you today. Now, they are all hair metal, but they go into different subgenres of hair metal, if you will. So, first and foremost, we are going to start with Wild Horses and their album Bareback. So this is on Atlantic Records from 1991. This is the debut album, and they do end up doing a second album, but that is like in 2003, 12 plus years later. And they pretty much did, I guess, break up, if you will, after this album. And this is actually, strangely enough, I didn't know that Jeff Pilson played bass on this album.
I was not aware of that.
Now, he isn't the main bass player, if you will. He's just credited on this album as like an extra or, additional musicians, if you will. So, as far as the album though, like when I first got this album, I was probably man, like 18, 19. Like this is a somewhat early one for me. And like I said, late teenager when I got this, and I always really, really enjoyed it. Now, the vocal style from John Levesque, I believe is how you say his name, he reminds me of a little bit of like a David Coverdale, that style, and the band itself does have a little bit of like a, man, what do you want to call it? Like a hard rock bluesy southern feel to it. Not totally, but there are influences on here of that. But I remember this album though too because like I had this in the car when I picked it up. I had this in the car for probably at least a month without taking it out. Like I liked it that much. Now, like I said, I could really pinpoint the time in my history with this album because I had this album when I first got it when I was like 19, 20 years old. I was starting to get back into bowling because that was always a thing I did when I grew up. And I was starting to figure out if I was gonna go pro or not, as far as like regional pro or even pro on tour, because I was like, okay, there's something here that I can do, and let's explore this avenue, if you will. But 5, 6 plus years later, that never did happen, but certainly had a lot of fun along the way and got sponsored and stuff like that. So like it was really, really cool experience, but never got to the tour scene. So, but nonetheless, met a lot of great people along the way and just a lot of great experiences as well. So, but that kind of leads me to this album because like the nights that I came home from bowling, like in leagues and tournaments and such, this album would be playing. So like this kind of does put me back into that mindset of or that part of my life, and it was just awesome. So let's jump into some of these tracks here. So the right off from the start, you have the intro track, "Cool Me Down." Great song, one of the best songs on the album, and just in 1991 period. So very, very good stuff. Love that song. "Had Enough of Your Love" is a good follow up song. Now, when I first had this album, "Your Love Is Junk," the third track, was probably my favorite one for a while. And then I was like, after the months and years, I was like, what the hell am I talking about? "Cool Me Down" is just a way better song, like overall for like your average person. Like if you're gonna give one song to somebody, you would it would probably be "Cool Me Down." But that's not taking anything away from "Your Love Is Junk." Very, very good stuff on there. Great chorus, catchy chorus. River Song is good. Fire and Water, New York City Heartbreaker. Whiskey Train is like an upbeat, has a little bit of cowbell, I think, in there. Really, really good stuff. Tougher Than Love, Day in the Sun is cool because like it's I don't know, it's a mid tempo song, but it kind of reminds me of like I like the lyrics too because like yeah, you're working 9 to 5 or you're working real hard to achieve something and you just want to take a break and take a breath and relax, and you're gonna have your day in the sun as well. Just a pretty cool song, just in and of itself. Just for that. part. Matter of the Heart is a good ballad as well. Burn It Up's a really good. Now I end the album off this because they end with a cover, Stevie Wonder's Tell Me Something Good, as track number 12. And I honestly don't remember how that goes, because it's been years and years since I even listened to that song. But everything else, man, the first 11 tracks, super solid. Now you could have took the last track off here, the cover track, and made it a very, very good 11 track album. Strong as hell, in my opinion. But yeah, really, really solid stuff here, guys. One, I do every blue moon, I do see someone share this album or a song off this album on like Facebook groups or Twitter or what have you. But man, not nearly enough. Not nearly enough at all. I don't know. I just really enjoyed this. I always enjoyed this album. And it hasn't gotten any worse, but I wouldn't say it necessarily gotten any better. But I always held it in high, very high regard for me. So like it stayed the same, and it certainly did not get worse. So very, very good album. Highly recommend it to anyone that likes anything of the like the like I said, the Coverdale vocal style. Um, a little, it's powerful, but it's a lot of low end. If I don't even know how to really who to compare them to. Yeah, so for the three songs, then I would say certainly "Cool Me Down," "Your Love Is Junk," and maybe "Tougher Than Love" is one that I can always remember just by reading the title. I know exactly how that goes. Pretty catchy in and of itself. So yes, very good album, guys. Highly recommend Wild Horses Bareback. Just wanted to jump in here, guys. If you guys enjoy this content that we're doing here, please like the video, please share it, and then please subscribe. That helps the channel out so much. Just helps everything that we're doing here. And also leave me a comment as well. Always interested to see what you guys had to say. Now let's jump right back into this video. So for our second choice here in 1991, it is going to be King of the Hill with their debut album self-titled King of the Hill. So now this is a little band from Missouri, believe it or not. And the best way I can kind of describe this band is elements of hard rock, funk, and a little bit of like a New Jack or like some kind of dance. Like I don't want to say New Jack Swing, but like some kind of like dance style to it as well. Like man, I'm trying to think of some other bands. Like Circle of Soul maybe would be another band that comes to my mind. Slamming Gladys, if you will, because we just did a previous Forgotten Albums episode actually, and we did Slamming Gladys, and very, very reminiscent of the two bands. Very easily comparable, in my opinion. Now it is 1 year apart because Slamming Gladys was in 1992, and King of the Hill here is obviously in 1991. But man, I don't even know what. To be honest with you, I don't even know what record comp or like what label this was on. It's on SBK Records. I don't remember them having anyone else on, or like who else was on SBK Records. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember really seeing that name.
Where you from? Where you from? You don't know Gator.
Obviously, this album didn't do jack shit. Now, I will say they did get pretty good bills and tours for 1991. Now, like I said, the album didn't chart or do very well in that respect. But I one of the songs on here, I don't know if it was "I Do You" or "If I Say," did reach like the Hot 100 Billboard, like for songs, for a short while, which is actually pretty like really cool for 1991. A big accolade in my opinion, as far as that goes. But you do have songs on here that are very, very good. Now, some people give shit for throwing horns in hard rock and metal, which I love, and also like funk and even like in King of the Hills. I, example is like some kind of like dance or party music, like that I don't know if that's the right term. Let me know in the comments what you think like King of the Hill would be the right term for them. Man, because like whatever subgenre they fall under in hair metal is not very big, and just like the bands that I just recently uh compared them to, that might be it. Like that's not a very big subgenre, if you will. So all right, so you lead off here with "Party in My Pocket," really good. Just gets the ball rolling. Nice, fast, upbeat. Ah, man, and real quick, like the cover is very interesting because you have the lead singer here, Frankie, and then you have like some of the other guys behind him. Because Frankie here looks like he would be some kind of like pop star or dance or something. And especially when you see the music videos, like you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's dancing around and stuff. Like you don't expect hair metal or any kind of metal or hard rock coming from this band. But then when you see the other guys behind him, especially these two guys here, kind of looks like they could be in like some kind of like goth band or like heavier band as well. Like so you got some like different mixtures going on here just on the appearance. So and that's just kind of cool though too. So second track here is Freak Show, really good, fast paced song as well. Now, one of the singles was "I Do You," the third track. Really good. Whenever that comes on, I crank that son of a bitch. Like it has that hook to it, but it also has that like it makes you want to start like moving around, which leads me to put them in some kind of like dance comparison. Like dance albums. And like I said for Slamming Gladys, it kind of sounds like 1992, and I'm gonna go right there again with King of the Hill. It does. This album is like a capsule in time. When you put it on, you're like, "Oh yeah, this certainly does sound like 90, 91, 92." Because like I said, you had the New Jack Swing going on the R&B, soul side of things and pop side of things, and because like Michael Jackson's "Dangerous" has that New Jack Swing to it, and also has like a hard rock feel to a certain amount of those songs on that album, and it kind of not 100%, not a total like rip off or anything like that, but it does have that feel with King of the Hill here. Like I can see those comparisons coming and be like, oh yeah, like that's the best way I can kind of describe this album in all honesty. Um, but so you got here the fourth track, If I Say, which is a ballad, really good. I think they had a video for that as well. But yeah, I Do You and If I Say are really good back to back, 3-4 here, and back to back music video singles as well from this album. And it's just really, really good ballad as well. When it comes on, I usually don't skip it, to be completely honest with you. Really good ballad. Maybe a top 100 for me. So we got here next Roses, good song. Uh, Now there are a couple tracks here that I don't really put on the iPod. There are a couple weak ones here. But then we go here to track number 8, another ballad, Place in My Heart. Another strong ballad, maybe not as strong as If I Say, but it's right there. Like these two ballads are very, very good. Um, no complaints with either one. If someone has one or the other as their favorite, no complaints with me either way. I'm very happy with both of them, or if they're being played. So then you finish out with Big Groove and Electric Riot. Solid, it's just okay. Now I will say side A is where it's at on this album more so than side B, but over time it is getting slightly better. It's not nearly as hateful, and which none of this stuff is hateful, but it's just when you're comparing it to a really really good side A and then a side B just kind of falls flat generally speaking. So good album there nonetheless that needs to be heard because especially if you like any kind of like that dance, New Jack Swing, funk style of hair metal or just metal in general, you have to check out King of the Hill. It's very AOR-ish style too. That's another thing that you could throw in to King of the Hill here as far as what they sound like. Ah man, I like this album a lot. This is a good album. Now, this is another one that I had since I was probably like early 20s, mid 20s. I can't remember exactly when, or I can't like put a specific date or like important part in my life to where I'm like, oh yeah, that I was playing like this album during that time. But I did play this album a lot ever since I had it, and that's been 10 plus years now. So yes, it's certainly a keeper for me. Certainly songs that I add onto my iPod playlist, my different playlist that I have, no complaints at all. So that is going to be King of the Hill from 1991. So they spent most of 1991 on the road with White Lion, Trickster, Lynch Mob, and Steelheart, which is a great bands. You would want to open for those guys no matter what in 1990, 1991. Good stuff. And then also when they went international, I believe they opened up for Extreme as well. So that's another big band. So they certainly got some love there. But like we always say on these forgotten albums, especially in these early '90s episodes, wrong time, wrong everything, because obviously Nevermind and grunge comes out, and it just blows up overnight. And also too, King of the Hill did release a second album recently, within like the last year or two. I have not been able to pick that up lately, and I do want to, because I like King of the Hill. And I just want to see, and I think it's all original members too that came back, that reunited and did a second album. So I do need to find that album. So guys, check out the self-titled King of the Hill from 1991. Check it out, guys. We have our own Krash Kourse Metal Show merch. This is the t-shirt here, the unisex shirt. It is 100% ring spun cotton. Fits very nicely. Now we also have in the store, we have a zip up hoodie as well. As you can see on the back, it does have the logo, the Krash Kourse logo. Wear it big, wear it proud. And then we also have your standard hoodie here. So both of these hoodies here are 50% cotton and 50% polyester. So there will be not hardly any shrinkage, if at all. Shout out again to Integral Merch Services. And if you guys can pick up any merch, I would greatly appreciate it. And that helps the channel out so much. And like always, guys, stay out of that collateral damage. All right, for our final choice here for 1991, guys, and that is going to be The Screams, Let It Scream. Now, I would say this album here is starting to become a cult favorite or cult classic in the hair metal genre with the fans, because of how much love 1994 from Motley Crue, or the Motley Crue self-titled album, has gotten as well, because of John Corabi. And because of that, I think it this album will never be truly forgotten because of that, because of Corabi's time in Motley Crue, 1994. So as long as that album kind of stays around and Motley Crue kind of stays in the limelight for some reason, I don't know how they're in this big a spotlight this far into their career without releasing anything that good. That's for a whole nother video and discussion.
Hell yes.
But I think this album will always kind of lag along a little bit behind the Motley Crue 94, just because of John Corabi. And now this is John Corabi's band before he joined Motley Crue. And man, because I was always familiar with 94, Motley Crue's 94, John Corabi's work there. And then I backtracked to Let It Scream. And man, this album is so good. Like, even if you now, I mean, I always enjoyed Corabi's work on 94, but like, even if you don't like that sound, I think you would still like the Scream, because it is that more 80s, early 90s sound. A little sleazy, I would say. Has some sleazy elements here. Has a little bit of uh, bluesy element to a couple songs as well. Just good attitude, a little edgy, and it's just I don't know. It's a really really good album, a cult classic, rightfully so. And now for a couple of these tracks here, you lead off here with Outlaw, which is one of my favorites on the album. Very very good. Love the lyrics. And now you got I Believe in Me, which there's a couple tracks on here that have a couple horns as well. So like, that's another thing in the early 90s, 90, 91, 92. These hair metal bands, no matter what subgenre you were in, we're starting to experience, or we're starting to experiment with more blues and also horns and a lot of different things. And I think it worked a lot of times. It worked way more than it didn't, in my opinion. So, but nonetheless, the Scream certainly tried that, experimented with it. Now, one of the singles on here was Man in the Moon, which is a really, really good song too. And now I think this is actually a music video single too. The next track, Father, Mother, Son, which is like a ballad, which he's talking about his mom and dad. And it can get emotional in the right headspace. Very emotional. Very good song as well. Never Loved Her Anyway has a really cool intro, like where they're just kind of jamming, and then they're like, okay, let's get serious, and then they get back into it. And it's really good, really bluesy as well. Good stuff. I always enjoyed it like that. Even before I had this album, that was one of the songs I always played because I found out about that song. I don't know how I found out about that song before I got the album, but that was one of the songs I was like, okay, I need to find this album and so I can have this song. Tell Me Why is really good. I love the guitar work in there as well. Love's Got Me on Hold is fun. You get these like I guess like black choir singers as well behind John Corabi on some of these songs, and it just brings like a whole new dimension and emotion to some of these songs. And I love that little like flair that they threw in there on that. I Don't Care, the ninth track, really good. Mid tempo. I don't want to say sludgy because like sludgy is slower than mid tempo, but like it just has like a beat to it and just mid tempo. It's just like look the hell out. The riff is pretty heavy. Uh, Every Inch of Woman, and now the 11th track is a ballad, You're All I Need, which is one of my favorite songs on the album and also a top 50 ballad, maybe, in my opinion. Just off the top of my head, I would say that, yes. Uh, but it's super damn good. Super damn good. And now on this song as well, you had Ray Gillen doing vocals from Badlands and Black Sabbath and stuff. Like he did backing vocals on this. Now, when I go back and listen to the song now, I'm gonna try to pick that out because I never really was like, oh, that sounds like Ray. I never really got that. But that's something now I gotta listen to this now when we're done here and to check that out. And now the final track, the 12th track, is Catch Me If You Can. Another good one. Fast pace ends the album. Really good. I'm quite I love this album. This is a damn good album. I could put this on usually almost any time and be happy with it. I do think it is lacking some. The only reason why I would say the only I guess bad negative, and I'm really splitting hairs here, is that there's other than maybe Outlaw, but that's not necessarily like a party song or an anthem. Kind of missing that anthem though. As great as these songs are, there's not that one that I would say I need to play this on a Saturday night on my Saturday night playlist. That's the only thing I think I can say about this album that I would give it a negative. But as an album as a whole, if you want to throw this on, let's go. I'm here for it. John sounds great on here. The whole band sounds good because like I correct me if I'm wrong. I think most of these guys from the Scream came over from Angora, which Angora was John's band beforehand. Because I have a Stevie Rochelle like metal sludge or whatever his label is. They have some stuff from like Wildside when they were Young Guns, and they also have Angora, which was John Corabi's band before the Scream. And they have like originals of these on like a compilation CD, and I have that over here. I should have grabbed it, but there's some stuff on there from Angora that's really really good too. And I'm like, oh fuck, so whatever, like it's really really good. And what can I say? The Scream, John, the boys, they don't really do nothing bad. There's not much out there that certainly John has done that I'm like, I can't get into this. I don't know. I certainly in the early days, I'm in the corner of John. I don't like to do 12 tracks, but this is an exception. This album is good, is fine with 12 tracks. It's just as strong as it would be with 11 or 10 tracks, in my opinion. So that is a big plus as well here. Um, just an album that you guys need to know about. Like I said, it is kind of like people are starting to be aware of this album now, but it wasn't like that back in the day, and even up until probably like 5-10 years ago, that I never heard anyone talking about the Scream or John Corabi's previous band before Motley Crue. And hell, you never even heard anybody talk about Motley Crue 1994 before 10-15 years ago. And that's starting to become a cult classic as well within the Motley Crue fans and also within like the hair metal fans and stuff, or just metal fans in general. And so, yeah, definitely, guys, check out the Scream, Let It Scream. And then we also had King of the Hill with their self-titled debut album. If you want a party album or some kind of like, if you want to dance along with something, like check out King of the Hill. And then we also had Wild Horses with Bareback. One of my favorite albums. Ever since I was a late teenager, one of my favorite albums, and certainly one that I'm actually surprised it's taken me this long to talk about Wild Horses on this channel because of how much I love this album, honestly. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think of these 3 albums. If you guys have any familiarity, or if you guys bought them when they were new, or if you guys found them recently, let me know, or listened to them recently. Let me know. I'm quite interested to see what you have to say about these 3.
Talk to me.
Guys, stay out of that collateral damage. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this Forgotten Album Series episode, check out the whole series right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.